Hello friends, welcome back, and in this video we will see how we can create the Electron based desktop application using Node.js Electron. Okay, so before we start, if you haven't downloaded the Node.js, please go and download Node.js from nodejs.org, and I'm using 10.15 and you can use whatever version you want. Okay, so I just created a new folder here and nothing there. To create a new node application, you should start a command prompt. So I just started a command prompt in the same directory. As you can see, that system info. And when we are creating a Electron app, Electron app is basically a node app. And if when you install node, so there are two command line tools will be installed in your system, which is one is node and one is npm. And npm is the one which is very important whenever if you want to start with node.js application or any Electron application. So that is very important. So let's say npm. If you have node installed properly, then if you hit npm you will see some of like commands like this. So npm is like node package manager, and this is not just a installer which is like a pip installer in python or yum in linux. This is something which is do more thing, which is like you can start the application, stop application, you can publish, uninstall, update. There are tons of other features which is come with this. npm is much more powerful. So whenever you create a like you are interacting more with the npm node, then npm is your friend. Okay, so now we are actually about to create a new node application, and that's why we are talking about npm. I think that is it. This is it for npm, and let's just start and create a new application using npm for node.js. How you can do that? Actually, you can use npm and then use init. So maybe something like if you work with okay, so wait, I just missed few things. So npm init is something which is initialize the package.json file in the current directory, and that is what is the first file which is required to run a application or to create a application. So as we just see that it just let me just go close that because I accidentally hit enters and I want to key in the information. So let me just start again and do npm init again. Perfect. So npm init is started, and now we just say the package name. So package name sysinfo is perfect, that's what we want. Version is fine. Description, this is our system info app, and entry point is the file which you should carefully give the name. And the name, you can any name you can choose, but make sure you create a same name javascript file in your application, because whenever your app start it will look for the same file. So index.js, if you choose that, then you create index.js file, but for me I will use main.js file. Okay, so then test command is just put empty git repository. If you have any git, you can put repository address here. Later I will put all this code into my git repository, so you guys can actually go and download and view this code, but right now I don't know the address because I will create later. Keyword is just your keyword, name of the author who is writing this code, so something like your name. License, you can put whatever license you are using, and at the end it will ask you, hey, this is the your package.json, is this all okay? And hit just yes, it's okay, and then immediately in this same folder this package.json file will create it, and with that we are good to start. So first thing what we have to use is we need to start the Electron to create a Electron app, and Electron is a package inside Node.js. So now I will show you how you can actually install packages inside Node. So for that you can use npm install package name, so Electron, and then use /save. And this is important. Why? Because later on we want to save this Electron dependency name inside our package.json. So let's just open this in my favorite IDE, which is WebStorm. Okay, so let me just, so this is our library package.json file, and here you can see in the dependencies the Electron is added. Perfect. So now let's just start creating our app. The core libraries is already come here since we just start the init, and then we just go here and create this main.js file. Main.js is important file for us, which contain our all core logic, javascript main.js. Okay, so this is our main.js. Just keep it empty for now. Let's just go and create our interface file, which is our index.html file, and let's just keep this also empty for now, whatever is default. So let's say if I want to start this app, to start, okay, let me just show you if at this time if you start where you start, because your npm says you don't have any start point here, and it will be something like, let me just clear this. And to start the Electron app, you should say that npm start, and it should say that, hey, your script is missing start, and that's the reason I actually show this error first, before I type here. So now what you have to say is put one more inside script, put say start, and start put a variable called Electron and one space and dot. Once you say this, then you are good to go. Then you will not see this error. But again, even if you start now, you will not see anything because your main.js is empty. So if your main.js is empty, there is no logic to start this app right now. So now, what is the content for main.js? Like, what is, like, how you can actually start? So if you are working on any Python based application, then first you start with importing library, maybe something like import OS, something like that, right? But this is not Python, this is JavaScript. So here we will start with constant, and since we are going to import multiple, so we will say app. This is the one which I want to import, and the second one is the browser window. And browser window is the window which is actually display our application, and then equals to require, and then here you just say what is required is Electron. That's what is required. From these two, application and browser window, I want to import from Electron. You can just think in a way that you say in Python, you say that from pyqt import qt widgets, something like that. Okay. Okay, so now first we will just start a base window. Like, I want to see how easy it is to start a quick window with Electron. So for that, just create a variable like main window, and this main window variable is very important. We will use throughout our app, so that's why we make it globally. And now just create a function called function create window, and here in this function we will actually put all the logics related to creation of windows. For example, like our main window, and our main window we will create a new browser window, and in that browser window comes with some very handy useful parameters. For example, you can control the width. You can just say, okay, I want width of 500, and also you can say that I want height of something like 600. Okay, and also the interesting thing is you can set the icon of the image. We will set it later icon. First we will just see the default one, so I will not go and create a very full-fledged application here right now. We just want to see the minimal thing to actually achieve and start a application using this. So now at the end what we have to use is we have to use app, and this is what that app dot, and what we have to say is that you know, whenever your application is ready, and then you have to say that create window. I mean, let me just write, then only you can understand well. So app dot, and then here you say that okay, when it's ready, then use create window. I mean, when your app is ready, just hit this create window, and now you see that all of our variables are used properly. Everything is perfect. Here we have an index file. Let's just name this something like VFX pipeline channel, and since this is a HTML file, simple HTML file, nothing fancy there, let's just go and start the application now again. So npm start, we just hit npm start, and we ended up with this. So now we have a blank page doing nothing, empty. Close this, go here, and right in the body just write few things. Maybe you can just say h1 and say welcome to VFX pipeline, and also create a something like input and type button value subscribe. Okay, so we have a header, and it's saying that okay, welcome to VFX pipeline and subscribe. So guys, don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so now let's just go back here and npm start. Perfect, we have npm start again, and you can see awesome, we see all this buttons and all. I mean, you can see, right? No, you cannot, because we have an index.html file, we have main.js file, but there is no link between these two. Like God knows what is index.html. So we need to say to our main application, hey, main window dot load, and now you have two options. You want to load a file or you want to load a URL. At this time the file is in my local, so that's why I want to use load file. I mean, let's just go and try with load URL first, then it will be much more easy to see that. Maybe you can say that https and what about this, google.com. Perfect, let's just go and run this. Okay guys, we have a Google app inside our Electron app. Perfect, yes, let's just see. Yes, it's working. So inside there you can actually browse, you can go to actually VFX pipeline. I mean, you can actually browse videos there. Yeah, it's fully working. Perfect. So this is not our goal to actually load a URL here. Our goal is to load a file here which is in our local, so that means index index.html, and this index.html should be okay. Guys, it's very inconvenient for me to actually go here and run, and since I'm using an awesome IDE, why don't I create a new configuration with npm and just say here start. And what this will do, instead of going into this ugly window, I will just hit this play button and this will start the app for me. And here you can see we have welcome to VFX pipeline and subscribe HTML page here. So that means this is your interface right now. So whatever you write here, that will appear there. Let's just create one more thing here. Maybe this time add a input, and this input may be a maybe a type text. Yeah, let's just see start. Okay, and here you can see that we have text here, we have subscribe button here. So I mean, this is where you are now open to add your creativity to create a awesome user interface, and you are not just limited with the basic HTML. This is like a pure HTML page where actually you can visualize this in Chrome. You can actually see in the Chrome, not even in the app. So this is just a HTML, so that's why you are not limited to this Electron app. You can actually view that, but the limitation will only come when you actually create some of the function which interact with your index.html file. Correct? Okay, so now this is what the basic code you require to run a Electron app. Now let's just see our code which I showed you in my previous video, where what is the system that we want to build, and here is the example of that, working example of that. So this is the HTML page with a bootstrap framework, and in that bootstrap we see the drop down and all this nav bar, a image in the background, and a bootstrap progress bar which is constantly reading my CPU usage, which you can see is 30 to 30% or 30 to 20%, and open notepad, open folder. I mean, this is what we want to create. So but what we create so far here is, now I will start this is this basic app. So first let me just go and get the HTML code is here. Okay, so guys, this is just the basic code, which is my intention is just to show here what is the minimal code is required to run an application. That's why I just created this app first without just copy pasting my entirely created app. So that's why now you get some idea about like what I'm going to do right now. So as you can see that this is just the HTML file, nothing fancy there. If you know HTML, it's fine. If you don't know, you can go and learn HTML. This is very quick, easy syntax. I will just copy my HTML file here, and don't just carry. This is very simple stuff, and this is mostly all the copy paste stuff from the Bootstrap website. So let me just start from the head section, and in the head section, since I want my UI to be a Bootstrap layout for responsiveness, that's why I use Bootstrap CDN, and this is the Bootstrap CDN main.css and theme CSS. This is all just copy paste. You can go to the Bootstrap website and just copy and paste in your code also. Now moment.js is for the dates conversion, nothing fancy here. Then one thing which is important here, because I'm using jQuery in my code, and if you want to use jQuery in your HTML file, this is the way that you should actually add a script into your index.html file. Otherwise you will see dollar is unknown, undefined, jQuery not found, blah blah blah. Okay, so to get rid of that, you can actually use this line of code, and that will help you to create a HTML page using jQuery. I mean, it will update using jQuery. Alright, so this is navigation bar is nav bar is already, it's just simply copy paste from the bootstrap. So I just want to see a nav bar in my app, that's why I just copy. It's just nothing functional here. Then the image that you are seeing, that is also directly coming from internet. So this is what which is the interesting stuff is going on, and which is, let me just minimize this. Okay, perfect. Let's just start. Okay, so if I start my app right now with new HTML, here you can see my new HTML is updated in our app. And also, but this is the progress bar is not doing anything, and also like these buttons are dumb, they are not doing anything. If you go to view toggle developer toolbars and you go to the console, you will see tons of error because the JavaScript is still empty and this is not loaded with our real JavaScript. So for example, if I say open folder, it's trigger a function, but that function is not there. And also if you want to reload, there's the same options there, which is like reload, and you can see with reload, you can see there are some of the JavaScripting is missing, that's why we are not able to run. Okay, so now we have a progress bar, but this is not updating because now this is the time to go to the main.js, and instead of like using this empty one, let me just go and copy my original one and paste it here. Don't worry, I will go with the line by line to explain what's going on here. So maybe there are few others lines which is not important, but then I will skip those lines which is not actually used in this process. So I already showed you app and browser windows are required to actually run this base application, and there's another other thing which is required, which is this Ipc main. And this Ipc main is something which is we used for communicate with HTML file and JS file. And you know, Ipc is inter-process communication between JavaScript and HTML file, I mean the front end and back end constantly. So, and then the tray and menu I used to create the system tray icon. So if you are interested to create a system tray, you can actually follow this this code here, and these all are coming from Electron. So this is all the Electron libraries which we just imported here. Use the file system to just query few of the things, so you can just query, and this is the default library of NodeJS. And OS util, which is this is the external package you have to download through npm install node OS util, and this is the default npm OS library which I use to calculate the system uptime. And the child process, this is important, this is what where our open notepad and open folder will connect with these two processes. Okay, so now we this one I already explained. The main window, we have the browser window, we have this icon.png, and as right now you see that right now this is just default Electron icon, this is not the icon which actually we use here. So let me just copy the icon of my application here and paste it here, icon.png. Let me just rerun this, stop and rerun. Perfect, and we ended up with this, and this is saying, and the reason is because we have node OS utils here, and this node OS utils module is not found in our this node modules. So to solve this, simply what you have to do, you have to go to this folder, right click, open command window, and you have to say npm install, hit enter, and hopefully it will be quite easy. Sorry, one more thing, because our script is having this Electron only, so let me just replace the package also. So that's what, because we need jQuery, system information, and NodeOS utility. So that's why let's just install all these packages. Npm install. Don't get confused, I'm just installing these packages for you. You just, once you get this code from Git repo, you just one time you just say npm install and everything will be installed, nothing to worry about that. Okay, so now we just put this here, stop, and run this code again. Perfect, without any error we are able to run, and now you can actually see the progress bar is running, right? So this is interesting. Okay, so now since we just covered the package.json, what are the things which is we required as dependencies, now it's time to dive inside the code to see what's our JavaScript is required to create this interface, right? Okay, so first thing, let me just clear what is this going on here. This is like, I want this application to start as a maximize, not just a small window, so that's why I use main.maximize. This code is responsible to create the tray icon in the tray, you know, here. So that's where we have the app tray icon and the context menu for the tray icon, where you can actually right click and see the context menu, and that I showed you in my previous video, all this context, how this is working. So this is the code for that. But the interesting thing which you should understand with this code is you don't forget to add this function here, and this is very important. And the reason is, you know, whenever you want to create a app, and if you don't put this function, and if you close the app, for example, if you close the app from here, it will keep running in your process, it will keep running, it will not end properly. So that's why you have to put this main window close, on close. Okay, so now let's just see other thing, which is this is all related to the system tray. I mean, I want whenever I minimize, it's just go to the tray instead of don't close that, hide that. And then the interesting part is coming here, where actually we are dealing with the CPU usage. Let me just minimize all this so it's not confusing. Okay, so you know, this portion, let's just focus on this portion, how we are getting the CPU uses. So to get the CPU uses, we are actually getting from OSUtil library, and OSUtil library which we imported here, NodeOSUtil. And with NodeOSUtil you can actually query the CPU, and this CPU uses up to here we have the number, this number is actually generated here. So get CPU uses is a function which every time you execute you get this number, but this function should execute at like not just one. If you just execute at once, then it will just give you the number at the query, and after that it will just returning nothing. But here we want to make a live dynamic progress bar from our CPU uses, so that's why we put a set interval of every 100 millisecond it's execute this function and get the actual CPU uses and put it into this info variable. Now we have this info variable here, and then now the thing is, this variable we need to access in this HTML. So in this HTML file, how you gonna access that? And now we just move to HTML file to see how we're gonna do that. And also one thing I want to cover here, which is this Ipc Main. So Ipc Main is the here you receive the command, here you actually receive the events from the Ipc renderer. So there is two main processes here, like Ipc Main and Ipc renderer. Ipc Main is basically okay, let me just simplify that. We have this variable get CPU here. So in that get CPU, whenever you get this variable on this event, do set variable timeout 100. Now let's just see how actually we can trigger this get CPU. If you go to index.html, what you have to do, you have to actually create a script, and like it's just a general JavaScript. If you like, you write like same way, you add that, and there you just start with IPC renderer. And IPC renderer is you can get it from Electron, and so with this way you can actually import inside your script. And then Electron this IPC renderer dot send get CPU, and with that actually we are sending this get CPU signal here inside our main. And once they get this signal, they start this process, and this process they are getting this information. But now you see, whenever this function execute, we are actually sending a CPU variable to our index.html. And how you can actually send a variable to main.js to index.html is actually you can use main.window, and this main window is actually our browser window. So main window dot web content dot send the name of your variable and the data which you want to send with this variable. So that means now we have CPU variable ready with the information, that means with a number. So now our job is far easy, because all we need to do, we need to catch our CPU variable which is coming from our IPC renderer on CPU. That means here we are catching that CPU variable here, and now we are converting that event and data, and that data using jQuery we are updating the progress bar. So as you can see, we are using jQuery and updating the width through CSS width lock data percentage. That means this is the number, and by default it's 0%, and this is keep updating on basis of the CPU usage. So maybe in our this example, maybe open notepad. So how this works, like this is a HTML button. As you can see here, this is the input type button, but here we on click, we have a function called open notepad. On click open notepad, on click open folder. Okay, so on click open notepad, whenever this function execute, and what this function is doing, this function saying, hey, send open notepad signal to main.js. I mean, main.js is the JavaScript which actually responsible to open notepad in your computer, because anyway you in HTML level you can't actually access your file system, and that's why you have to go through main.js. And then main.js, whenever you receive open notepad, so here IPC main say, hey, IPC main on open notepad, you just spawn. So that's here where our child process came. You remember we import the child process through our child process, and this is the default npm library. So child process dot spawn, and then put the command, and this command will actually open a notepad, and you can actually open Maya, Nuke, whatever software you want using this command. Okay, so now this portion, like open folder, the same way we are actually sending open folder signal to IPC main, and when IPC main catch the open folder signal, it execute this portion of code, and this portion of code is responsible to open the program files. Okay, here one more thing, which is actually open the temp directory. So temp directory you can actually get from os.temp, okay, which is actually here in our create window, context menu, and in context menu we created open temp directory. So temp directory, basically from your OS you can actually get tmpdir, and this is the cross-platform way where you can actually get the temporary folder location of your OS, where you can store some of the file directly if you want. So with that, you can actually interact with your operating system, and you can create some desktop application using JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. Okay, so I just spent few days with this Electron and the Node.js application. I just want to explore this. Like, I want to just see the possibilities of that. I'm not the expert of this software or this programming language. Even I'm just a very beginner in JavaScript. This is like, I just go through some of the YouTube videos on internet, and then I found like maybe I should try this, create some application using Electron and Node.js. So now even I have like few things to like explore more about what is the possibilities. I mean, what do you guys think about this? Like, can we use this as a replacement of Qt? I mean, like, wherever we are developing application using Qt, there are some restrictions, like we can't create responsive designs of the application. And also wherever you already have pre-designed web application ready, all you have to do, like, you check in, check out, publish, and interact, like create play blast previews, upload system. I mean, more interaction with your native softwares of production. You can use like same web interfaces inside your desktop level pipeline tool, so you no need to write the interface again and again, and also your core logic will be same. This is just like an idea about that. I mean, what do you guys think? Yeah, just let me know in the comments. And even like, if you done some of the R&D, you can actually share with me. And if you have any doubts, you can actually ask me about this. Again, like, I'm not expert, maybe I cannot answer everything about these Electron and all, but if your query is regarding this project which I just finished, which is like get the CPU uses, open notepad, and this is just like, I picked few examples, I picked few tasks which I want to do to test this application how well it is. And my initial test is this application, these libraries are actually working fine, absolutely fine. And this is what we actually need, because you need a HTML interface, and your interface is actually interacting with your computer. And I mean, it's working fine, it's good. I can use it for some of my pipeline tools. And I built a similar kind of a CPU display interface in my previous video, which I actually created long time back, in 2015, when I was just exploring the possibilities of Qt's of making real-time desktop application. And there I was actually created this real-time CPU uses information and populating inside the progress bar of Qt. And I found this was actually, you need to deal with threads, classes, and get create a lot of signals and slots to actually populate that. But if I compare my Qt experience with the Electron experience, I think Electron is far easy and much convenient, easy to deploy, easy to development about all this kind of like real-time application. If you are interested to see this Qt tutorial, this is already in my channel. You can actually go and search through this, and you can I will copy this link also in the description of this video. Okay, here you can see that it's way easy. Okay, so guys, this is it. I will wrap this video, and you guys just let me know in the comments what you guys think about Netron and if I do some more testing and R&Ds with Electron Node.js, I will keep posting in my YouTube channel VFX Pipeline. And to see that, you just please subscribe this channel so we all are in the same page to see all this stuff. And if you are interested to explore this code or you want to use this code, view this, I will post this into my GitHub account, which is github.com/vfxpipeline, and I will put the link of the code repository in the description of this video. So thank you very much guys, and let's see you in our next video. Okay, all right guys, take care, bye.